Brady numbers last night, 52 passes thrown after he got banged up. And, we'll have to watch the injury report again, although we've learned the far more reliable source of information as to Tom Brady's health and well-being is the Let's Go podcast on Monday night. Forget about the injury report. The injury report takes about 4 days to catch up to whatever he'll say to Jim Gray in what will be released tonight. But his arm was messed up. Blaine Gabbert was loosening up, as Melissa Stark pointed out last night on the broadcast. So, hey, when you're 45 and you get banged around like that, you're going to feel it more the next morning than if you're 25. That's just kind of the way it goes. And Tom Brady's not immune to that. No matter how he looks, no matter how he throws, you still are 45. And you still need time to recover. And that's going to be an interesting one to watch, Myles, as the week unfolds, because he got hit hard. You made that point. I mean, when was the last time we saw Tom Brady get hit like that? I can't remember him getting blasted like that. He usually is very adept at avoiding that kind of contact.
He is, and that's part of what has made him so great is the way that he maneuvers in the pocket. He just does not usually take those kinds of hits where you're just seeing him flail about all the time. Like you just don't really see that from Tom Brady. Maybe that was a part of the deal with the devil that he made, and maybe it's starting to come a little bit loose. I don't really know. But when you see something like that, yeah, you just are kind of reminded that Father Time is undefeated. There's never been anybody who's ever played the game at this level at 45 years old. So at some point, it's going to start falling apart for Tom Brady. I don't necessarily know that it's yesterday is when we start seeing that, but when they can't run the ball at all, and when they basically just start refusing to run the football, and you have a guy who has thrown as many passes as he's thrown in Tom Brady's career, and he's still 45 years old, and he's just dropping back and firing that pill like he's 25. I don't know how sustainable that is. I really don't. And I understand that last year, Tom Brady led the league in completions. He set a record, didn't he, for completions, right? He's leading the league in throwing attempts. I just don't know that that's really the way that you want to play if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, they were trailing the entire time, basically, last night. So when you're playing from behind, it makes things different. But if you're Tom Brady and you are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and you're Todd Bowles and you're Byron Leftwich, you got to be thinking, man, I cannot let this team get down like that and feel like we're still going to have great chances to win every week, because we can't run the football at all. Despite how much Tom Brady is using the TB12 method and pliability and all these different terms that he uses, it's not usually going to work out well, I don't think, if your quarterback is throwing that many times.
As I told you last night, and I've said this before here, someone told me a few years ago that Brady's going to be able to throw like he does into his 50s. The thing to watch is his legs. When he can no longer get away from the hits and starts taking the hits, that's when the injuries will begin to pile up, and that's when he will say, to quote Danny Glover from the Lethal Weapon movies, "I'm getting too old for this," and I won't say it again, but it's the word I said earlier that I shouldn't have said, and Lord, I apologize. By the way, the Buccaneers, who are now 2-2, have the 2-2 Falcons next weekend, a game which suddenly becomes a little more interesting than it would have been 8 days ago when the Falcons were 0-2 and the Bucs were 2-0. And then next Monday night, the Chiefs host the Raiders, who finally got their first win, as we saw in the opening of the show, with Josh McDaniels celebrating the victory over the team, the Broncos, that fired him a decade ago. Raiders 1-3, Chiefs 3-1. So some divisional games for those two teams next week. And you mentioned that deal for the devil, with the devil, not for the devil. Hey, I'll tell you what, because I've been joking about Tom Brady doing his deal with the devil for years. Whatever deal he did, he got a hell of a bargain. He got so much more than Homer Simpson getting a donut. He got it all in exchange. So he did a great negotiation with the devil when he did his deal with the devil, because it's still paying off 2 decades later. And maybe that's why he's doing everything he can to live as long as he can, because that's when he's going to have to honor his end of it. Obviously, we're joking, so please, Tom or anyone else, Buccaneers PR staff, we're joking about Tom Brady doing a deal with the devil, even if he did. All right. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.